How can we go from perfect granny square to perfect granny triangle? It's not how you think. Hey there, and welcome to another episode of Crochet Tips. And in this video, it's all about how to make the perfect granny triangle. And let me tell you, this was quite a challenge. Long story short, it all started during my last holidays in Denmark, where I filmed this super cute crochet garland in front of a yarn store. And of course, my first thought was, that would be quite a nice idea for my channel. It was made entirely with single crochets in different colors, so immediately I thought about birthdays, parties, home decoration, and of course pride. So of course I had the idea of making a video for my channel for it, but then I was thinking, wouldn't it be nice to do the triangles as granny triangles using the same tips and tricks that I used for my perfect granny squares? So let's get to it. I will show you all the tricks to make such beautiful granny triangles, and in the end I will also show you how to make a beautiful crochet garland out of them. So here's exactly how I took on this little challenge to go from granny square to granny triangle. So of course I would always compare it to my perfect granny square and all the tips and tricks that I shared with you in a previous video. And the first thing I did was basically, I was thinking that here we started with 4, then maybe if I start with 3, then in the end the granny triangle would come to life automatically. Again, this was the thought. And the result was basically something like this. It is a triangle. It looks also like a granny square. It has very, very big holes all around, which comes probably because of the different angles. And it's rounded more towards the sides. So I just wasn't happy with it. And to be honest, I even thought it looks that ugly, especially when I want to use it for a garland, where I thought it should look super clean, just like my granny squares. And then I went to YouTube searching for other tutorials to see if I have done something wrong or what the issue exactly is. And interestingly, they all look the same. They basically all made their granny triangles like I did it here, and they look equally bad to me personally, and no sharp edges, not refined at all, super sloppy. So let's keep all the rejects here on this side. So I tried it again. This time changing from segments of 3 double crochets to segments of 4, because I wanted to reduce the holes and the spaces in between. And also I made a bigger chain towards the corners. The result looks like this. We are getting more towards a real triangle, definitely. But still, those holes, those big holes, were just killing me. And even the 4 double crochets as segments didn't help. In the contrary, you get like even more waves around it. So that was basically attempt number 2. And of course, we didn't stop there. The next trial was something like this, where I would start with 4 and then keep my 4. And like this, it definitely goes into the right direction. I still feel that some of the holes here are just way too big. I would also have to chain one in between the segments. And it looks more like the Christmas tree that I made before Christmas, to be honest. and I was more happy than with the previous versions, but I still didn't really feel this one as well, and continued my testing. So then I came up with the idea of breaking those bigger holes by adding one double crochet in between my segment of 4. I hope you can see that. Here's the double crochet that goes right in between the 2 double crochets, and you can see already that it gets much more into a triangle shape, which is definitely something that I was going for. It's still a bit wavy on the sides, and I really wanted to have like the same polished straight effect that we have for the granny square. So this one I felt like I'm getting there. There are still some of the holes that are quite big, like those here, which look a bit off to me as well. Those on the sides are fine with me because those are characteristic also for the regular granny square. But the other ones, I mean, those ones here, I mean, my whole finger could go through them. It was just still a bit too much. But then luckily, it all came together in this version, basically. So I got the most straight sides. I got the perfect symmetry from all the 3 sides. We always have the same angles towards the sides. We have the main axis highlighted, and we use the single double crochets basically to close the bigger holes, which gives us some more smaller holes that I'm absolutely fine with. And this was then my final version. And if you take this and, for example, add a last round of single crochets all around, you get the perfect granny triangle. And here's how you can do your own granny triangles. So I'm starting with orange for this tutorial. I mean, I'm already made quite a few colors. The red one I can finish later. And here's how you can do the perfect granny triangle. We start again, just like we did it for the granny square, with a magic ring. You do your own way how to do the magic ring. Here's my one, the awkward one, but very effective for me, and it always works. Just a few hours ago, I tried again to make another kind of magic ring, and it didn't work. So this one really is the version that I prefer. So of course, also for this tutorial, we are going to start by making our clusters of double crochets into the magic ring. And the first one is not a chain free. Of course, it's a fake double crochet or a stacked single crochet. So you go into the ring, grab the yarn, pull it through, yarn over, pull through the 2 loops on your hook. You have a single crochet now. And then you go into the front bar, of course, grab the yarn, pull it through, pull everything up a little bit, yarn over and pull through, and you made your fake double crochet to start, which stands as our first real double crochet. And we do 3 more double crochets because we are going to make clusters of 4 double crochets. So 2, 3, and 4. Then we are already at our first corner, and since the triangle has different angles, of course, than our typical granny square, we have to increase the amount of stitches or the chain for the corner. For the perfect granny square, we use a chain of 2. For the perfect triangle, we use a chain of 3. So we chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then make our next set of 4 double crochets, all in the magic ring. Here we go. Now we come to the second corner space. Again, we chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we are good to go to make our last set of double crochets, 4 in total. So now comes another difference to the granny square tutorial. So first we are going to close the ring. I won't pull on it super tight. I just leave a little bit of space there. For our perfect granny square, I used a half double crochet to finish the round. And back at that tutorial, I had a viewer, hi Debbie, I hope you're watching, that suggested that I could also do a double crochet. I tried it, the double crochet with the granny square, and I thought the hole that it created, on the space that it created, was too big. But interestingly here, for our bigger corner spaces, the double crochet as a joining or as a closing for the round works just perfectly, and this goes as follows. You yarn over, you go into the top of your fake double crochet, grab the yarn, pull it through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. And now you have basically closed the first round, and you have the position of the yarn exactly where you want to have it, and the holes, the spaces in the corners are perfectly equal. So for the granny triangle, my tip would be to definitely close the round with a double crochet versus a half double crochet, and definitely not by chaining and slip stitching and turning and all the other things that you would see in other videos, of course. And then we can continue like we did it for the granny square. We start again by making a fake double crochet. So you go into that corner space, grab the yarn, pull it through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through both. You have a single crochet, then go into the front bar, just like this. Yarn over, pull it through, pull everything a bit up, yarn over and pull through, and you have your first fake double crochet. And then again we make 3 more double crochets to complete our first cluster. So the square has clusters of 3, the triangle has clusters of 4. Maybe that's something to remember or to memorize. Here we go. And now comes the first difference that I thought changed the whole look of the granny triangle. So this is basically when I cheat the space. Of course, you could chain 1 and then go directly into that other space, but the distance is quite long with those 4 double crochets. So we are going to cheat a little bit and make a double crochet right in between, or right in the middle of our cluster, right here. Pull the yarn through, yarn over, go through 2, and yarn over and go through 2. So that creates those smaller holes here, and personally, I think it also gives it a more closed and more homogenic and polished look. And from there, it's shorter to go also than in the next corner space, which we are going to do now, because in the next corner space, we are going to make just our 4 double crochets in there. And before we make the last one, what I think also helps to create the shape is that we make the last one and the first one of the next cluster not inside of the hole, but in the middle chain element in the front loop here. So here was the chain 3 that we did before, and we make the last double crochet in there. As you can see, it pushes everything a bit up, and we want to have this straight line to create our triangle. Then we chain 3, because this is a corner space, and then we would have our next segment of 4. But again, I'm going into that same second chain element like we did it before, and make my first double crochet in there to push it up or push it towards the corner, and then we make 3 more double crochets into that corner space. Just like this. And you can already see that we are getting a straight line, just like we want to have it for the triangle. Then we have our next segment of 4 double crochets. Then again, we are going to cheat by placing 1 double crochet right in between to shorten the distance to our next corner space, like this. And then we can go directly into the next corner where we do exactly the same thing. I'm going to show you again. So you first make 3 double crochets all into that corner space, like this. Then you find the middle chain element, which is right here. You yarn over, go into that second chain element, and place the 4th and final double crochet of the cluster in there. Then we chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then again, to start the next corner cluster, we go into that same chain 2 or second chain element and make our first double crochet in there, and then 3 more double crochets into that corner space. Then again, we have our next cluster of 4. We cheat again, make a double crochet right in between, and then we are already at the end of round 2. We make another set of 4 double crochets. Here we don't have the chain element, but it's not a problem. There we go, and then we can close the round again with a double crochet. So you yarn over, go into the top of your fake double crochet, grab the yarn, pull it through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, and round 2 is done. And even after 2 rounds, you definitely see a triangle, which looks, even in round 2, so much better than this wobbly thing. So we can continue just like we did it in round 2 with a fake double crochet. So you go into that corner space, grab the yarn, pull it through, make a single crochet, go into the front bar again, grab the yarn, pull it through, and pull it through the 2 loops on your hook, and we can make 3 more double crochets. And then again we have our next segment of 4 double crochets. So we are going to place our cheating double crochet right in between. If there is a real name for something like this, please tell me in the comments. I have no idea how I would call that. So for me, that's if I have fake double crochets, then maybe I have cheating double crochets as well. So then here for the next, we have those 2 little holes right here that were created by the cheating double crochet that we made in the round before. And to go back to a cluster of 4, we are going to make 2 double crochets into the first space, and then go directly into that next little space and make 2 more double crochets. So no chain. And like that, we are basically back to a cluster of 4. Then we have the next cluster of 4 right in front of us. We can cheat again, going in between those double crochets. So 2 on the left, 2 on the right, or vice versa, depending on with which hand you are working with. And then we're at the next corner and make the next set of double crochets. We do 3 first. We push everything a little bit to the side. Try to locate the second chain element, which is right here, and make the next double crochet in there to finalize our segment of 4. Then again we chain 3, yarn over and place your first double crochet into that chain element, and 3 more double crochets. Then again, cluster of 4. Time for some cheating. And it also helps to keep everything in line versus having all those bubbles going up and down. Then we have our next 2 tiny spaces, our eyes here. We make 2 double crochets into the first space. And then 2 more into the next one. And then we have a cluster of 4. And we place another double crochet right in the middle. And then we are already at our next corner where everything is the same. So we start with 3 double crochets in that corner space, and then the last one in that second chain element right in here to get the straight line. We chain 3 and go back into that chain space, and 3 more double crochets. Then we have a chain 4 And then we have our two little spaces. In the first one, we make 2 double crochets. And the second one, 2 more double crochets to go back to a segment of 4. Then we have the next segment of 4. Go right in between, make 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet. And then again, we're at the end of round 3 already. And we make 4 double crochets in that last corner. And then we close the round with a double crochet in the top of our fake double crochet to finish the round. And here's how it looks like. Pretty symmetrical, very neat. The main elements are highlighted. You can now, if you want to, also close the magic ring, which is fine. You can turn it in whatever way you want to. It will always look pretty perfect. You still have this little wavy part here, but you can always fix that by like dragging a little bit on the yarn. And for the triangles for my crochet garland, I made 4 rounds in total, so I'm going to make 1 more round here, and then I will show you how to add the little border that keeps everything even more in space, or keeps everything more into the granny triangle. And I'll meet you once I'm there. So here we go, round number 4 is done, and it looks more and more like a triangle the more rounds you do, actually. And we have the straight lines and all the angles are correct. I'm super happy with this granny triangle. And to finish it off, I will now show you how to add a little border just with single crochets, just to have a super refined and clean look, and that the triangles are ready to be incorporated into the crochet garland, which was, of course, my initial challenge to make myself one for pride. So we start the border exactly where we are, and we are just making 2 single crochets first in that corner space. Then we start with the single crochets all along, and the first one is actually the same one where we place the double crochet to join, and which is also the top of our fake double crochet. So make sure to grab that stitch right here to make a single crochet in there, and then we make single crochets in every stitch that comes along our way. I think here I messed up a little bit with the yarn, so you can definitely tell I'm very picky when it comes to my own work. And ever since I started my projects with fake double crochets, every time I see a tutorial nowadays that starts with a chain 3, my eyes are rolling all the way. And I'm like, no, you can do it so much better. We're making a fake double crochet, of course, but that's probably how it is. I will continue making them. You do what you like more. And here we go, we're at the end. So for the corner space, we start again with 2 single crochets in that corner space. Then we are going to do a chain 2, because this corner then should definitely be a bit more sharp and not so round. And then continue with 2 more single crochets into that corner space. And then again, make sure to grab the first one, otherwise your stitch count won't be correct in the end. And continue with single crochets all around. And again, in the corner, we start with 2 single crochets and then a chain 2. You could also do a chain 1 and then 2 more single crochets in that corner space and grab the first one and make more single crochets. And we're in the final corner, and what we do here is make 2 single crochets in that corner, then we chain 2, and then you can cut the yarn pull the yarn through. You probably know what's coming. Of course, we are not going to slip stitch and make a knot in the end to finish everything off. Of course, we are going to make the invisible finish, and for that you don't go into the first single crochet that we made. We go in the second, and you go from the front to the back. Bring everything down so that it's overlapping where the first single crochet was. And then we go from the top into that back loop. From the chain 2, you move everything so that the space or the place is correct. Then you turn your work. I usually go through this first bar right here and don't pull it too tight just yet. And then I can go directly in between all those single crochets that I made. Just a few of them. Pull the yarn through. Check again if this corner space here looks alright. It does. And then we go back once more, all into those, or in between those single crochet spaces. You don't have to go all the way, just a few stitches back. Pull a little bit on the yarn to make everything tight, and we can cut it. Here we go. And then we only have to do the end from our magic circle. Check again if everything is nice and tight. And then I will go through some of the stitches from the first round. To make sure everything is safe and secure. And once you have that, you're good to go. You can cut the yarn. And here you have it, the perfect granny triangle. And just like that, you have all your granny triangles ready. Of course, you can now connect them to make a bag or whatever you want to do with them. In my case, this is basically all I wanted to make my granny triangle garland. And this is what I show you next. So I'm going to use a white cotton yarn to connect all my granny triangles. And it's very simple and in a very basic way. We start with a chain for as long as you want. So now I made 30 as my beginning. Make sure to pull it out a little bit. And let's start with the red. And for her and we always did that chain 2 element in the corner. And what we are going to do is to take the second one. So here's the first one, here's the second. Then we would go into the back loop only and just slip stitch to connect it. And then we can go all the way, always with a slip stitch, just like this. And then when you reach the next corner, we make another slip stitch right into that first corner space. And then we can continue making a chain right until we reach, or we want to add the next triangle. And make sure to note the stitch count for in between so that you have the same amount of stitches for your triangles, so that you have the same amount of stitches between your triangles. And when you reach the next triangle, we do it exactly in the same way. Try to find the second corner element and make a slip stitch to connect it, and then go along with slip stitches all the way through. Now here we go, both of them are connected. If you feel like the space in between is a bit too big, just open one of them and make it again. You got it? So as you can see, it can be quite a challenge to make perfect granny triangles, but from now on, and with the help of my video and my tips, you can definitely crack this challenge and make such beautiful, completely symmetrical granny triangles. And with them, of course, you can make a fabulous granny triangle garland. So let's sum up those tips again. Tip number 1, always start with a magic circle. Tip number 2, when starting each round, start it with a fake double crochet instead of a chain free. Tip number 3, make clusters of 4 double crochets for the granny triangle to get symmetrical sides. Tip number 4, finish each round by connecting with a double crochet into the top of your fake double crochet. Tip number 5, to avoid bigger holes, make a double crochet in between your cluster. Tip number 6, when reaching the smaller holes, make 2 double crochets into each of them to have again a cluster of 4. Tip number 7, make a simple border all in single crochets around your work to emphasize the shape. And finally, tip number 8, finish it off with the invisible finish to avoid any bumps from knots on the side. And by the way, I know what you're thinking, a bikini would suit me so well. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed getting to know how to make the perfect granny triangles and a super perfect and super cute granny triangle garland. And don't forget to tell me in the comments what you think about this tutorial and the crochet tips. And of course, if you have any additional tips, feel free to send me a message so I can check them out and who knows, maybe incorporate them into my work. And I hope to see you again next time only at the Totally Fierce Crochet channel. Bye!